Welcome to Pitch Black 2, a ROM hack by creator Memesu that seeks to make the original Pokemon Black 2 more fun and challenging. Today, I'll be trying to defeat it in a hardcore Nuzlocke, but before we dive into that, here's what you need to know about the game first. The starters are the same, but they're wildly discolored. And instead of getting one of the elemental monkeys as your starter's co-pilot, you get a Hoenn starter equivalent. Choose your starter tandem carefully. And this Giftmon will not be the last one you encounter, I promise. Level caps and rare candies are built into the game, so feel free to bring your team up to the next gym leader's highest level and compete against the trainers guarding your path. You won't overlevel in the process. Some Pokemon types are changed, not a ton of them, but just enough to keep things fun. And finally, the gym leaders that used to look like this now look like this. And with all of that established and so much more to show you guys, I think it's time we begin our attempt at the bag. It should be noted that you can play on two different patches for Pitch Black 2 depending on what style of gameplay you'd like. We'll be using the hardcore patch today for our playthrough. Also, if you're curious about the rules of this playthrough, they're posted here. With the standard starter selection being the horrendous Gen 5 trio, I selected the least of all evils in Snivy. But hey, Tepig's getting a rework in this new Legends game, right? And fighting our rival was not an issue at all. Tailwhip boosted our contrary Snivy's defenses, and we were off to the races. Now, in the first town, there are a few things to note. Bianca shows us around the Pokemon Center. In there, you'll find Steven Stone from the Hoenn region. In some ROM hacks, this is an excuse to donate a free Beldum to your campaign. In Pitch Black 2, however, Steven Stone is a starter merchant, pairing your starter with an adequate partner. In our case, we received Torchic to pair with our Snivy, the fried chicken Pokemon. From there, the Pokemart sells us some quick balls, which are only available until you defeat the first gym. The clerk at the gate counter provides us with rare candies, full restores, and max elixirs, and this breeder gives us a free baby Pokemon. Now, there is a glitched egg you can get here, and we got it. If you roll the Mime Jr. egg, you also get a Timber egg. In the interest of preserving our Nuzlocke rules, I did release that Timber and carried on with just that one Giftmon. Mime Jr. does not evolve when taught Mimic, by the way. We'll have to keep an eye on it and see what the evolution line was changed to be. And I do want to shout out our Patreon subscribers and YouTube members real quick, as I will be naming our Pokemon after you guys throughout the run. Grant, Chad, and Simone. Thank you guys already for being in here. Moving north towards a farm far, far away, we pick up a few more encounters, including Vixenta the Talo, Jack the Herdier, Tyler the Purloin, and DJ the Electrike. There aren't any major boss trainers in between now and the entrance to the gym, though some mandatory fights on our path to saving a Herdier from a Plasma Grunt made us prepare a little bit. Back to the trainer school. I noticed an opening to the right of the building. Cresselia? What the hell? I talked to it. It brought me to a ghost town. Look how eerie this place is without any NPCs. Also, there's something about these boulders that freaks me out. Are they trying to keep us out of the houses or keep something in them? Anyways, a gift egg from Juniper turned into one of a few options. We got Victoria the Spoink, and then on Route 1, we picked up Curie the Venipede, and back where Cresselia was hanging out, we used the Phantom Grass to snag Prita the Cleffa. Let's do fights. Honestly, the trainer school was not a big deal, and our first real challenge awaited us at the gates to Gym 1, where Faulkner is. I mean, the guy only has 3 Pokemon, but they're all former single stage mons, which means that their stat totals generally crush the early game. So this was gonna be fun. I risked 3 air cutter crits on Simone in my quest to drop Gligar. That was the strategy that I strategically used. It worked though, so take that. And when Murkrow walked in, I knew my Servine wasn't doing anything anymore, so I risked a payback crit on DJ. Murkrow smashed Feather Dance. My goat? Unfortunately, I did not get a static proc nor a paralysis from Spark. I did, however, send that dumb bird into the ground, baby. Let's go. Farfetch'd was the only mon left. I knew that anything I could send in would be dead to crit, so I opted to leave DJ in for another turn to snag a little bit of chip damage. And boy, did I get what I was asking for. Way to go, DJ. Now I just switch in Victoria the Talo and very calmly and gently survive a critical hit from Rock Smash so I can quick attack this stupid duck into its stupid coffin. Oh, that 1 HP survive stressed me out. Consider Faulkner tarred and feathered. Get it? Feathered? Because it's moving on. Victoria actually cleaned up the next 2 trainer fights for us as well, and we were on a Charon. And now we get to one of my favorite customizations of Pitch Black 2, the gym fights. Each gym leader has multiple battle style options. In Charon's case, we can choose to fight in a single battle for the Echoed Voice TM or in a double battle for Echoed Voice, Smackdown, and 2 berry juices. I'm not sure the payoff was worth it in this particular case, but doubles Charon, here I come. My strategy was layered, but centered around Prita the Clefairy. took advantage of Friend Guard to protect Simone from a ton of damage output. In turn 1, Prita got faked out, while Simone leech-seeded Porygon. Anticipating another Icy Wind because the AI can't understand that Contrary is going to boost my speed, I switched Grant in next turn, tanked that Icy Wind and a knockoff, and Prita did its job charming the Kecleon. With the Chameleon now attacking with Wet Noodle Arms, I could focus the brunt of my attacks down the right side, which is exactly what I did. Porygon fainted, and when Trace Herdier, I know, cool ability idea, right? Swapped into Steel Staravia's Intimidate, the AI switched out the bird to reset its attack, allowing me a free shot at Zangoose. The rest of the fight was Simone pummeling the right side, while I pivoted my own right side to avoid as much damage output as possible. Shout out to Chad for tanking a toxic boosted quick attack from Zangoose. What a legend. Anyways, it fell to its own poison, Staravia fainted the next turn to Leaf Tornado, and Kecleon had no chance of stopping Grant's kicks, dropping Charon's last line of defense. Thank you for the badge and the cool stuff, Charon. Charon was not easy, but this game hasn't even really gotten started yet. A new badge meant a new level cap of 23, which gave us access to a bunch of new evolutions, including Mime Jr., who morphed into a Mr. Mime at the ripe old age of level 21. On the way to Verbank, we encounter another breeder who has a fire-type egg for us. The luckiest pull possible, we walked away with Drewster the Slugma. Then, in the remaining 3 areas we had access to, we pulled a Chinchou, Gothita, and Psyduck. Maybe this wasn't the ideal pack, especially since Chinchou repped Water Absorb instead of Volt Absorb, but this was our pack, our team, and Brawly was about to find out what that's all about. I led with Tyler, slamming a fake out and a feint attack on Meditite, inviting in World. Simone was able to swap in and glare it before switching back into Liepard to avoid a potential Ice Beam crit. Now into Chad, whose special defense and typing walled the Tadpole. Good night, guy, it was Hariyama time. Now normally, Mr. Mime wouldn't be slower than a Hariyama after one speed drop from a Rock Tomb. This Mime, however, was uniquely Turtle-esque in the mobility department. Anticipating Bullet Punch, I asked Vixento the Swallow to take it, and then pulverized the final 2 mons with Wing Attack. Bravo, bird guy. Roxy's trainers were no problem at all either, and it was time for Roxy herself. But Roxy's jamming right now, and to give her an extra second, why don't we open up a pack of Pokemon cards? Opening Pokemon cards is something that never gets old. It's like I'm 12 again every single time, and I can't help myself. I love them. Actually, you know what? Why don't we open up a pack of Pokemon cards with the sponsor of today's video, Arena Club. This is me opening my first slab pack, and what lies inside will be immediately placed in my vault for safekeeping. Nani? What the? I just got a Celebi? That's crazy. This looks like the coolest card I've ever had. Oh my god. That's crazy. A new era of trading cards is upon us. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. So every time you rip a slab pack, Arena Club will make you an instant offer for your card based on its market value. As you just saw when I pulled this Celebi. You can submit your own cards for grading too. Arena Club provides a detailed grading report with full transparency on how each grade is determined. Whether you're buying, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you have to check out. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Whacko and using code Whacko at checkout. Again, use code Whacko for 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at checkout. Thank you to Arena Club for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back into the action. This is the first fight where I think choosing the harder team is actually beneficial. Like, I think Poison Jab could actually help out a lot later on. And so I did, electing to open against her Seviper and Tentacool with Tyler and DJ. As Tyler faked out the Seviper, DJ clobbered Tentacool with a Spark. Electabuzz took the floor. Tyler and DJ then doubled down on Seviper with Zen Headbutt and Spark, fragging the Snake and letting Krogunk take the stage. I thought a double target was coming down on Tyler right now, and I was vindicated when Kiri tanked both fighting type attacks. I did ask Kiri to deal with Electabuzz Psybeam next turn, which did a chunk of damage, but Psybeam from our Mr. Mime into Krogunk cleared it, and the final 2 Mons were left on the floor. It was in this moment that I realized I had 0 Pokemon on my team capable of tanking Poison Jabs from Arbok. Bold strokes, baby. Give me that hard double switch into Liepard and Swellow, who just so happened to get the perfect responses from our opponents in Psybeam and Scorching Sands. Even still, I was cooked. Sure, these 2 frail mons got in for free, but now what? Double target Arbok and let one of them die? Swap Tyler out again. Give me Kiri. Vixento, Air Cutter. Kiri dished out a poison point proc on the Brick Break, and we were in such a weird position. Kiri protected next turn, allowing Vixento the opportunity to slam both Pokemon with an air cutter. No, it didn't do a ton, but a quick attack on Electabuzz finished it as Jack took Whirlipede's place. And Jack was not surviving another poison jab no matter what I did. Neither was literally anything else. I had almost come to terms with my fate. I was gonna lose one, if not multiple Pokemon in this fight. And then it hit me. I had the perfect move to get out of this situation. Are we breaking out the growl strats right now or what? DJ dodged the crit, and I was not in that much better of a position than I was a few seconds ago, but DJ tagged Tyler in to tank the next one, and a second growl made sure that that worked out. Scorching Sands brought Tyler to the brink of death, but Liepard being in meant an opportunity to fake out and then air cutter again. Switching one final time, I asked Chad to swallow a whole poison jab, which absolutely took like a champ. A final fake out into a final wing attack did the job. Thank you for badge number 2. Chasing grunts around, dealing with the early parts of this story is easy when you're at level cap. After dropping a couple of these grunts, we made our way to Castelia City. And then we turned around because I forgot there were items to grab south of Burbank if you do a couple of optional battles. Thank you for the heart scale and for Rock Smash. From there, we went to Berg's gym and were told to head to the sewers where we belong, which was really mean. In my opinion, I went to the Pokemon Center next, where you'll notice 3 NPCs behind the counter. On the right, you'll find a lady designed to give you perfect IVs in exchange for heart scales. In the middle is Nurse Joy, and on the left is a lady who relearns moves for your Pokemon. Now you'll notice there's no prompt explaining that it's a heart scale exchange for a move relearn, so I gave away our heart scale to reteach Swellow dual wing beat, which is just not a good use of that resource. I thought it was free. I thought we were just trying to help me out. I got a Spinarak from the sewers, which was not great, and teamed up with rival Mimsu to take down the grunts down there. They leave, and Berg invites you to challenge his gym, which is so nice of him. If you walk through the tunnel behind him, however, there is immediately another fight, so be careful. You can get another encounter here, which we cashed in for a nose pass, which is way better than Spinarak. Then in Castelia Gardens, we took the Shaking Grass for a coin flip encounter of either Budu or Eevee. We welcomed in Budu, who is cute, even if maybe significantly less useful. We then took a boat trip to a faraway island where we get a Suicune egg. I am kidding, we got a Wingull, but this egg can be a Suicune. It's fun and it's balanced appropriately for the gameplay. Finally, we secure a Dwebble north of Castelia, who might be the worst encounter possible up there. It is what it is. The pace of play picks up quite a bit from here, as the gym trainers leading up to Berg need to be planned for. Thank goodness this damn choice band Play Rough Illumise missed its second attack, because I definitely would not have had the HP to tank this normal gem boosted explosion sturdy Pineco otherwise. And if you scale the nest, you'll find that Berg isn't at the top of it. He won't be there until you defeat Misty in the Pokemon Center. I'll save you the whole replay of this fight, but what you need to know is you can utilize Water Absorb to stop the permanent rain team from using any water moves the entire battle. As long as Water Absorb was the last ability triggered by either team, Misty can never slam us with the Scalds and Bubble Beams of the world. Thank you for the dub, Misty. And once again, Berg leaves us asking the question: do we take the easier fight and just get the Struggle Bug TM? Or do we take the double battle and go for X-Scissor, Silver Powder, and the Wide Lens? You guys know I'm way too greedy to just go for the single battle, right? I can't help myself. Crustle and Galvantula opened against my Wise Glasses Dr. Sleep and Eviolite Grant. Thunder was terrifying, but my plan was immediately throttled when Crustle survived Bubble Beam from Dr. Sleep. That was the whole point of including the Wise Glasses. Whatever, at least Dr. Sleep tanked X-Scissors, which paved the way for Flame Burst to do major damage to the spider while finishing off that Crustle. Celebi walked in. What an insane mod to see right now. It's okay. I had something coming for it. I used Chad to fake out Galvantula and take it down, and I asked Tyler to Night Slash crit the Celebi. Yeah, that was the plan. It didn't work out, but think about how cool it would have been if it did work out. Tyler, you played awesome. What a noble first casualty. I sent in Scolipede for what was now the most pivotal juncture of this fight. With 2 psychic types on the floor, yes, Venomoth is a psychic type in this game, Scolipede was dead to stab psychic from both slots. But Scolipede was also faster and the most powerful offensive tool I had against either one of these Pokemon. I needed to protect Scolipede, but I also needed to attack with it. I protected first turn with Kiri and utilized Chad's Psybeam to chip Celebi into Bug Bite range. Next, I had Chad Smash follow me to distract Venomoth as Kiri punched Celebi with a bug bite. I love getting critical hit with Tinted Lens and having my special defense dropped. That was an excellent turn. Drewster made his gym fight debut, anticipating a double target into the mime slot. I was right, and Drewster's HP was sapped. At least we had Venomoth on the brink of perishing. Bug Bite KO'd the Moth, and Psychic Fangs did a number on our Kiri next turn as I swapped into Grant, then back to Drewster. This Electric Bug Leavanny and Scyther duo was giving me nightmares, and swapping was only going to keep me alive for so long. I elected to let go of Dr. Sleep the Golduck. Walking her in, she did me one last final favor, dodging Scyther's dual wing beat to spare Drewster the damage output of Leavanny's attack and perished at the hands of Psychic Fangs. Ancient Power did buckets of damage to Scyther, and I took a huge risk sending in Chad the Mime to help out next. What I was trying to do was bait out 2 bug attacks next. With overlapping ranges everywhere, I knew the play I was making was risky and the opponents could use literally any moves they wanted, but I had to gamble on something or else risk losing even more members of my team. I switched Chad out for Grant, who quad resisted Bug Bite from Scyther, then X-Scissor from Leavanny. Expecting Psychic Fangs now, I had Grant pivot back into Chad to take exactly that move. And Fake Out into Ancient Power was enough to get us through. Thank you for badge number 3, guy. I know I said things were ramping up a couple gyms ago. Things are actually ramping up a lot right now. We did get a bunch of evolutions as the new level cap of 38 was super generous. This meant we could use Blaziken to sweep through the first 3 members of Colress's team. The first problem here came when Fracture started setting up Dragon Dances. I had to risk a crit on my Dragon Grass Superior to fire off a Breaking Swipe to subdue the Adolescent Lizard. Play Rough from Jack buried it, and Porygon 2 was not rocking with Kentucky's finest. We received a few gift stones here, including the Moonstone and Shiny Stone to evolve our Clefairy and Roselia, who would now become staple parts of the team. Now, on our way to our next major battle, we added a bucket of encounters, including Skarmory, Shuppet, Doduo, Glameow, and Slackoth. I did skip my encounter on Route 16. Not strategically, I just forgot. We'll get it later, I hope. But yeah, there was a tag battle with Memesu in which Memesu is actually kinda good, and we got out just fine. The next section of gameplay is against relatively competent trainers in Alesa's old gym, capped off by a showdown with the new roller coaster leader, Fantina. This fight is hellfire, but after opening with Lantern to clear Drifblim, I was able to take advantage of the synergy of Toyeka the Perugli's U-turns and Ali the Banette's sucker punches. This was enough to thwart Gengar and the Ghost Fire Ninetales. Thank everything that Miss Magius opted not to set up Nasty Plot, because I don't know what Jack the Stoutland would have been able to do here. But it worked, and Rotom Wash was easy to deal with next using Roserade. Fairy Dark Absol next was a menace, but Skarmory dodged a second Night Slash crit en route to a 5 HP victory. We had made it through deathless. And now for the first offered triple battle gym fight against Alesa. Strap in. Look, my only options are double or triple battle. There's not enough of a difference between the two of them for me to justify going for just the double battle, okay? I was going for all of the marbles. First turn, Grass Dragon Superior is taking an Ice Beam from Lantern. My working theory is that my opponent didn't recognize that Clefable in the middle had the ability Friend Guard, and so Ice Beam saw a kill on Superior, which is why it attacked instead of Tail Glowing. Anyways, Draining Kiss critical hit the Electros, and Mirror Coat shredded that dumb fish. It was officially a 6v5. I'm really proud of this next turn, where I anticipated Ice Beam from Seeking on Simone and swapped in John the Lantern to eat it. I also fired off a Helping Hand so Chad could eviscerate both Electros and Electivire with Dazzling Gleam. I can't overstate how good it felt to drop both of those demons at once. Now, it's a 6v3, but one of those 3 is Zapdos, so this fight was far from over. The next turn, I walked Crustle in on Flare Blitz, and Zapdos punched us with a Discharge. John and Prita double targeted the Zebra, and our positioning was getting a bit awkward. Because of the amount of things that can happen in a single given turn in a double or triple battle, it's almost never worth it trying to play defensively. I had to attack with all 3 of my Pokemon here. And this spelled the death of our friend Prita, who had delivered such value throughout this attempt. From the friend guard shenanigans against Charon to the helping hand play just moments ago. This was a devastating blow to our Nuzlocke run. Still, we had 2 mons left to conquer, and I wasn't going to let Prita go for nothing. Chad took over the middle slot, faking out Seeking and surviving Zapdos' discharge. Joel the Crustle rock tomb Zapdos, officially outspeeding the Zappy Bird, and Lantern chipped Seeking. Switching into Grant the Blaziken next, Joel slammed Zapdos. I knew we could outspeed and KO Caesar just 1 turn later. We lost a dear friend, but our 4th badge was undeniable. We were moving on. And moving on meant thwarting the evil team trying to bully Mimsu and I in Nimbasa, as well as taking on Heartbreaker Charles. I feel like Charles is usually a rotation battle or something, but here it's just a classic single battle throwdown. No way was this team gonna be easy. The opening Skarmory did have a red card and Sturdy, so I was hoping to see Spikes instead of Stealth Rocks as I heat waved it with Mad Cargo, and I got exactly my wish. I think getting the burn would have been cooler, but I settled for taking on another layer of Spikes as P the Slaking bodied it. Darmanitan hit. Man, I hate this thing. I made a risky decision. I hard switched into Simone, which paid off and paved the way for us to smack it. Raikou was probably the biggest demon of this fight with its big meaty claws and ability to channel magnetic waves and weaponize it against me. Skarmory did not want this smoke, so I got Toki in and out of there so fast. I am so grateful it elected not to set up Calm Minds because I was counting on Alex Y the Rosa Raid to stomp it out. I got my wish. The final mod was Crocodile, whose Moxie ability and high speed stat always make it a threat, but Toki delivered on exactly what I brought it in for. Walling the Croc. Oh, this scenic Unova region. Look at this bridge. We got a duck. Over in Driftvale, we met more Team Plasma Grunts and some guy in a fancy robe named Rude. Rude was mean to me, go figure, and he wanted to fight. The gimmick of this fight is that Typhlosion is a ground fire type next to a Storm Drain mon, so you have to be careful not to fall into the water move trap. Easy solution to this fight, just use Air Cutter to critical hit Maractus and invite out the Nidoking, and then use the water move on Typhlosion. Easy money. The rest of this fight was pretty standard, using Pokemon to bait moves, and pivot and clear Gastrodon, then Nidoking. Rude actually made it up to me, giving me a free Zoroark as a thank you for beating him up. Look, whatever you're into, thank you for the little guy. We also snagged a Shieldon from Clay Tunnel and a Fungus from the route just west of Driftvale. It was Clay time, and this team looks wild. Victini, Regice in a double or triple battle in permanent sand? This team was gross, but there was one thing in the docks that caught my eye. Special Pokemon? Am I really gonna play through the entire game and not find out what Clay's special Pokemon is? It could be like Regirock or Tyranitar, another cool sand monster or something. I had to find out. In my quest to find out for all of us, I entered the triple battle. With a monstrous opening trio from Clay, I countered with John, Jackie, and Grant. Fake out from Jackie the Gothitelle stunned Nidoking for just a moment, and something went wrong immediately. I had anticipated Scorching Stance from Victini into John, not Blue Flare into Jackie. While Grant still blaze kicked Regice into the coffin, things were a little more awkward. Jackie survived it well, and the Citrus Berry brought it back even more, but being the centerpiece of this triple battle, we needed Jackie at as high an HP as possible. Bubble Beam did serious damage to Victini, even getting the speed drop, and the Sand chipped at everyone. Excadrill took the middle, which I didn't mind because this gave it more opportunities to see knockouts on my Pokemon. If it doesn't see a knockout, it's super likely to set up a Swords Dance, and I did not want that. And it immediately went for high horsepower on Blaziken, allowing me to swap Toki in for free while I Bubble Beam Victini and Psychic Nidoking. The final foes were now on the field. Clear Body Regigigas was gonna ruin my life. The first thing that went wrong from here was the catastrophic Thunder Punch to John's fishy self. Volt Absorb would have been super helpful in this particular instance. Gongus the Bastiodon fell next as high horsepower from Excadrill did just a hint of damage to the Rock Steel type, and Regigigas finished Toki the Skarmory. It was officially a 3v3. My once strong lead had been fumbled. I needed some assistance on the part of the AI here. I sent Jackie in to retake the middle of the floor, Blaziken by his side. Fake Out stopped Excadrill for at least one turn, but Regigigas finished our guy, and Blaziken flame bursted to do damage to the whole floor, with Aggron misfiring an Iron Head because it saw a kill on Jackie just moments ago. We officially had our angle. Down with Reggie, down with Aggron, the fight was won. Through all of the bloodshed, we protected our two most valuable Pokemon in Simone and Grant. Toki, Gongus, Jackie, and John will all be missed. But at least we got the special Pokemon, Landorus, an Intimidate user with 2 immunities. I regret to inform you that I am lying. I got a freaking ball toy. It's shiny, I guess. Mistralton Cave gifted us a Boldore, Chargestone Cave landed us a Swimmy, and it was time to do the tournament thing. I mashed my A button like there was no tomorrow for this one. We then met our rivals on a boat and had a whole throwdown with the bad guys before departing north to head towards Mistralton City. In Chargestone Cave, there are plenty of fights that you have to prepare for, but the most interesting one lies at the very end, where Ace Trainer Vicky guards the exit of the cave. Arthur the Probopass, an electric rock type in this game, walled the opening Rotom Heat and invited out Superior. This was a little more awkward to answer, but swapping through Roserade into Mr. Mime on Draco Meteor meant a free switch-in. Into surviving a boosted Leaf Storm so Chad could Dazzling Gleam, the snake is holding a Salic Berry. It's a contrary mon, so it slowed down. Look, I'll take what I can get. Aerodactyl came out next, and Heavy Slam MK the Gigalith overwhelmed the frail dinosaur. With Mothim now out, I had Vixento swap into Air Slash and finish it. From here, I alternated between special attacks and physical attacks to bait Wobbuffet into not killing my bird. Do not do this. It does not work. This was not a good AI trick. I got incredibly lucky. Wobbuffet was selecting random moves. Skyla's team is wild, as the permanent rain means that every hurricane can't miss and every hydro pump is doing crazy damage output. Choosing between the single battle and the triple battle here, I decided the rewards for the triple battle just weren't worth it. The air balloon was nice, but 5 Lumberries and 5 Citrus Berries didn't feel nice enough to risk my entire attempt for. And so the single battle began, and boy, I was cooking. Bolt switch out of there, DJ. The Sash Swanna had nothing on Leaf Blade turn 2. I had the stall choice Scarfs to Raptor out with Drewster, but Shell Armor meant that I was never really risking anything, and a Will-O-Wisp put me in prime position to knock it out with Burn while I recovered back to full HP. Tornadus was next, but Lauren the Electros walled the hell out of it. I even got the full paralysis for a turn, enabling Eel to have way more HP than it was expected to have after leaving that fight, which will be important later. I had to Volt Switch into Joel the Crustle because Crustle was the only Pokemon capable of baiting out Thundurus. It wasn't really about Thundurus as much as it was about not trying to bait out Shaman Sky, who is Skyla's most offensive weapon. Now, I'm no AI expert, but I don't think this Pokemon knew what it was doing. Simone leech seeded it as it used Wind Bolt Storm over and over. That's an electric move. We're a grass dragon type. I walked DJ back in on that electric move with the intention to Volt Switch out. Again, this was all in preparation for the scariest weapon in the back. I needed Crustle on the field untouched for it. I anticipated Leech Seed and was pretty thrown off when it elected to Hurricane. I did not equip a Person Barrier for this. This wasn't even Shaman Sky's most damaging move against Crustle. I do not know why I didn't prepare for this. Good luck, Joel. Rock Tomb dropped Shaman's speed, but I was still in trouble. I needed Roserade to swap in to finish it off, but I couldn't risk walking in on Hurricane. Remember like 30 seconds ago when Eel survived with way more HP than it was supposed to because of the full paralysis? I swapped Eel in, knowing that it could be literally any move, and Lauren got Hurricane. When I had built this line for Skyla, I had anticipated that Lauren was going to be a sack here. But at 66 HP, it was never dead to Hurricane and always dead to Seed Flare, which was the one move that Roserade could switch in safely on. So I took advantage. Get in there, guy. Alex Y sludge bombed the beast and only Sizor was left. Because of the rain, I could never knock this out with a single heat wave. Drewster tanked not 1, but 2 bullet punches on his way to burning the beast and swapping into DJ to finish the job with Flame Burst. That was badge number 6. DJ was insane in that fight and probably the #1 reason that the run gets to continue on. We moved north to snag Juniper from the Spooky Tower, adding Yanma and Sneasel to the team along the way. It was playing time. Once in Lentimus, I actually doubled banked in Imbasa so I could take a train to Anvil Town, and you might be wondering what's here. It's a Pokemon trainer with a free baby Axew. Back in Lentimus, to continue the story, I found a road blocked by a bunch of Machop. The only way to clear them was to take on this insane double battle against Chuck. Our level cap of 72 put us at a way higher level than Chuck's team, but the hack creators still made sure that some of Chuck's Pokemon were threats. Opening with Ali and Simone, I hoped to set up major damage outputs with Leaf Storm contrary shenanigans and had Ali frag Metagross. Triple Axle from Hitmontop hit like a truck. But even still, the next turn we were able to clear both Hitmontop and Machamp. Now things get a little awkward because Ali was not outspeeding and one-shotting either slot, and Simone was dead to both attackers. Getting Simone out, Ali throttled Electivire, and the final 2 Mons were on the screen. It took some angling, but eventually Air Slash from Izzy the Yanmega downed Poliwrath, and close combat from Grant conquered Terrakion. Take that, Chuck. With the road now clear, we added Torkoal and Duosion to the team and had to lead Bianca down a gauntlet of single battles with the occasional tag battle in between. In Humalao, we added Frillish, Breloom, and Crawdont to the team before preparing to take on the final rival battle before Victory Road. Once again, a bit overleveled. It wasn't much of a contest. Mimsu went down fast. Welcome to the Team Pidgeot. We're now in Lacunosa Town, where Zinzolin and his icy tag battle awaited us. How'd that go? Grant was that guy, bludgeoning a Abomasnow with high jump kick, and Mamoswine with a close combat. Weavile out next with Cycle Cut had me sweating bullets, but I got Dream Meme the Reuniclus to tank that hit. This might be the only time ever that a Bisharp has defeated a Magmortar. I couldn't believe it. We got production out of our tag partner. And then Bisharp cashed in another KO against Weavile before getting taken down by Clefable. I didn't bring in a counter for Clefable. Dream Meme had to sit in on the Moonblast stored power attacker and just stall it out. Fortunately, it ran out of moves rather quickly and we were able to take it down. Welcome to the team, Skorupi, Heatmore, and Virizion? You know, usually I don't take legendaries, but all of our opponents have had them, so why shouldn't I get one? Once in Opalucid, we cleared 3 gym trainers and prepared our team for Drayden. Drayden is the only gym leader in this hack with only 1 team. But don't be fooled, this team is a disaster class shitstorm. Dialga and Latias as the opening duo, I was gonna have to get creative here. And all of a sudden, Virizion feels like a totally fair addition to my team. I had Toyeka fake out Latias, tank a hit from Dialga, and had Grant high jump kick the Steel Dragon into the dirt. Getting Toyeka out of there to dodge Esper Wing, Peanut ended up taking a Draco Meteor to the dome. But while I had elected to damage Kingdra, it got me thinking, if I can keep this special attack dropped Kingdra on the floor for the rest of the fight, then I can focus my energy down the right slot while the Seahorse flails minimal damage at my team. And so I did, swapping in a second Dark type to threaten Latias, successfully capping the Jet just a turn later with Icicle Crash. Moxie the Drapion was a battle armored behemoth, so there was no risk in tanking an Octazooka here, and Aggron walked in. Admittedly, this Steel Dragon type was probably the biggest threat on the whole roster for me. Its typing and physical bulk was a combo that I had nothing for. I finished Kingdra so I could safely get Blaziken on the floor, but Dragon Rush slammed Grant for way too much damage on the switch in. I got my guy the hell out of there, inviting in Chad to tank the Moonblast and Dragon Rush that came next. Fake out on Aggron immobilized it, and Cross Poison was more than enough to bury the stupid Cloudbird. And then there were 2. It was at this specific juncture that I regretted bringing in Grumpig at all. What were you doing in here, guy? For what? I sent in Toyeka, knowing this was likely his last moments on the team. The Beast actually survived Cross Poison, and even fired off a final fake out on Aggron in an effort to bring us home. Because of Toyeka's sacrifice, we were gonna make it. Cross Poison finished Sceptile, and combining Fake Out with Storm Throw, then Storm Throw with Dazzling Gleam, did it. We had acquired Badge 7. The world is frozen over, Zinzolin sucks, and there's some shadow guys. I got a fish. Look, all that really matters is that we're chasing badge number 8 and there's one guy in our way. Surge. Hidden in a house in Humalao, you cannot challenge Marlin until you take down the Cantonian electric leader. My 2 least favorite leaders back to back. What a hellscape. But an opportunity to kick their teeth in? Count me in. Bug Buzz from Izzy tombstoned the Dark Electric Luxray. I then triple axled the Thunderous with Peanut before having Matt the Amoonguss address Raichu. Spore is a 90% accurate move in this. This is my one gripe with Pitch Black 2. Putting Raichu to sleep was not mandatory in my plan, and Life Orb Lantern walked in next. Cursed Body Jellicent disabled Ice Beam, which meant that Simone was the most safe he had ever been against this Water Electric type. Leaf Storm would then become a wrecking ball for Lantern, Suicune, and Rotom Mo. We were ready for Marlin. Now, again, these gym trainers are not easy, but methodical planning led us to Marlin's footsteps, and I was ready to review his team. This This is gross. There's not even a rain setter on the team. They all get their own abilities and they still get permanent precipitation. Full transparency, I did not have the team to take this on in a triple battle. So I went after the double battle, opening with Life Orb, Virizion, and Heatmor. Baiting out 2 water moves on Heatmor, I immediately swapped into my Grass Dragon type to tank, while Virizion power whipped Palkia. Then I switched again in on Ice Beam and Spatial Rend, double targeting Simone's slot, which cleared the way for Azura to finish Palkia. In double battles specifically, where so much can happen, Nuzlocking is all about controlling what you can. I know that pivoting is slowly draining my team's HP, but on some level, at least I know what the risk and loss is, and I can play around it. With Palkia down, Kyogre came out next. Chad faked it out so Azura could power whip it, which invited out Swampert. And that would be the last play that Chad ever made. Chad had been one of my most vital assets in this run, faking stuff out, smashing follow me, and doing real damage output in my time of need. This might be the most heartbreaking loss of the run so far. Oh yeah, and all of that was for Azura to miss Power Whip! Other Self made his debut next to Azura, intimidating Swampert to maybe help out just a little bit. I got Azura's dumb ass out of there in exchange for Peanut, who happily sopped up the double ice move target and gambled on setting up a Dragon Dance with Gyarados. Screw it, fake out the Swampert so I can get another Dragon Dance in. And you might be thinking, is this gonna be a Dragon Dance sweep? Gyarados has 2 attacks, Power Whip, which is inaccurate, and Bounce, which takes 2 turns to execute. If this is gonna be a sweep, I'm gonna take a lot of hits in the process. And Scald hit Peanut that turn, which burned and dropped our punchy Dark Ice type. What a brutal loss. Hoping to bait water moves for a turn on a switch, I sent in Squirk and pivoted to Simone, which worked exactly as anticipated. Swampert did not rock with Power Whip, and a Focus Sashed Kabutops walked in. I swapped a Squirk as it Swords Dance and Power Whipped the Fossilmon to its final breath. Knowing that swapping something in on Rock Slide was too risky, I opted to let Squirk go this next turn. Aqua Jet did Squirk in, but not before Squirk ripped that dumb fossil down with him. That was one of my favorite plays of the entire playthrough. Shout out Squirk, man. It was a 3v2 with just Ludicolo and Jellicent on his side. Ludi outsped everything, and neither Azura nor Simone were tanking an Ice Beam. Azura fought hard, but this was the end of the road. Other Self defeated it, and a double target of Power Whip and Leaf Storm pulverized the final Jellicent. 4 deaths isn't a lot, right guys? And now we begin the boss rush to the Elite Four. Our new level cap is 99. Let me talk to you about the 3 most memorable fights. First, Colress, who squares up on the Flying Dutchman's ship just to get blasted by Grant the Blaziken. Yes, we did deal with the Shadow Triad next, but the real fun is in the fight against Getsis, whose team is actually kind of super reasonable. Bugbuzz destroyed Torterra, and Reshiram stepped in to counter Izzy with Blue Flare. I then swapped Haxorus in to take that and get the dual chop knockout. I didn't know if Blue Flare had a burn chance. It's 20%. Rest in peace, Haxorus. Simone finished it with Breaking Swipe, and Moxie cooked this dumb Gengar, inviting out Genesect. I don't think I've ever seen a Pokemon wall another Pokemon like Jokey walled this Genesect. Shadow Ball and Recover overwhelmed this bug that I usually think of as a terrifying threat. Our counter to Hydreigon was Expert Belt, Dazzling Gleam Arthur, and it was just Electros left. Flamethrower did crazy damage. It wasn't enough, however, as we conquered the big boss battle. And now it's just Victory Road, a gauntlet of insane teams capped off with this fight against rival Haramsu. Who gave this guy a Rayquaza? Knowing Haramsu wasn't tied to either the single or double battle, I cooked a team that I thought could survive both, and I walked in guns blazing. Oh, and good grief, it's the double battle. In that kind of run, boys. Leaf Storm critical hit the Suicune, and I risked Simone's life with this Bug Buzz here. Power Gem took Volcarona down quite a bit, and Rayquaza stepped in immediately. I sent in Drewster the Magcargo to tank a Draco Meteor. That's not what Magcargos are for. Shout out Drewster though, one of the editors on this video. You made an excellent slug, my guy. Power Gem on Rayquaza sunk its HP a bunch, and I sent in Other Self the Gyarados to help out. Dragon Dance meant our guy was going to outspeed everything now, and another Power Gem clocked Volcarona. Rayquaza's special attack was dropping by the turn, so I elected to leave it on the floor while I focused down the right side. Welcome to the battle, Moxie, our battle armor goat. Goodnight, Porygon Z. Yeah, I mean, we just kept doing that. Target the right side, leave the weakened Rayquaza alone, and profit. Later, Mismagius, goodbye, Gallade. Rayquaza fell last, and we had officially made it. We were getting an Elite Four attempt in. That doesn't really mean anything. Look at these Elite Four squads. Also, trying to navigate these double battles was gonna be hell. But who was I bringing to the Elite Four? First, Moxie the Drapion. Battle armor is invaluable, and dark types are known for dominating this Elite Four. Second, Arthur the Probopass. Bulky electric rock type with levitate. I had a ton of faith in this guy to work well on pivots. Third, Dream Meme, the Reuniclus. A wild card, I know, but I hoped its bulk and power would translate to wins. Fourth, Other Self, Gyarados. Sure, Dragon Dance only has 2 PP, but that's enough to slam some tough bounces and power whips. Fifth, our starter, Simone. Leaf Storm Contrary setup was going to absolutely play a role in this Elite Four if we ever expected to come out on top. And finally, our team captain, Grant the Blaziken. High jump kick, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz. This guy does it all. I even scaled his speed to make him the fastest chicken east of the Mississippi. We were in as good a place as we could be. Knowing we were going to do our best work against single battles, I advanced into Marshall first, and things went insane. Grant snapped on Empoleon, Simone followed that up with a clutch critical hit against Keldeo, and swept the Electivire and Conkeldurr that walked in next. With just Infernape and Lucario left, fired off one last Leaf Storm on Infernape before swapping into Arthur to eat a Blaze boosted Flamethrower. I was hoping to get Grant in on Grass Knot, but it U-turned out? Grant was speed tied with Lucario now and super dead to adaptability Aura Sphere, so staying in was never worth it. I got Other Self in there to Dragon Dance and then bounce on Lucario, which took it down and brought the 1 HP 8 back onto the floor. I thought it was guaranteed to Grass Knot here, so I hard switched into Grant. Again, Blaze boosted Flamethrower me. You guys, like risking crits? We had to, so we did, and Grant toughed it out en route to our first Elite Four victory. And again, I found the next single battle to try and trounce, Grimsley. Grimsley's team was spearheaded by that Darkrai in the back, but I had a plan. Grant opened a Fire Punch, and then high jump kicked Crawdon. Yeah, that was a raw 90% roll to my death. I had no better options, trust. Moxie swapped in next to critical hit and rock Absol, inviting in Charizard. The big stone Arthur was a huge barrier on Zard, and Scrafty checked in next. Intimidate from Other Self was brilliant here, stifling the Scrafty that wanted to set up Dragon Dances. Sure, Scrafty did get off a crunch that maybe could have critical hit killed me, but didn't matter because it didn't critical hit. Darkrai stepped in, the big man on campus. I anticipated Dark Pulse and hard switched. It went Dark Void. Now, I was holding a Chesto Berry, but if this thing has more than one Dark Void PP, it's over. I'm done. Luckily for me, it opted to Spatial Rend and did not crit again, paving the way for us to take on Caitlyn. Double battles are hard. I feel like I've said this already. I feel like I'm a broken record. Oh yeah, and Cresselia is in this battle with a Shadow Tag Mon in the back. Excellent. I opened with Arthur and Moxie, the two Pokemon who dealt with the openers as best as I could. After Arthur got destroyed on the first turn, I swapped Other Self in to help out. We knocked out Yanmega and Gothitelle immediately walked in. Shout out to our GOAT for the Helping Hand light screen play, huh? Made me happy. Cresselia made things harder with her screens, but I set up Dragon Dances with Other Self and kept the pedal on the floor through Gothitelle. Eventually, it was gone and our mobility was restored. This fight was long, but here are the spark notes. We cleared the Giraffe as well as the Gardevoir with Other Self. The problem of this fight began when Metagross walked in against our very damaged team. Seeing knockouts on both slots always, I had nothing I could do but hope things went well. I bounced to clear Cresselia and swapped Moxie in, begging for Psychic Fangs. It clicked knockoff, and Other Self fainted. I did not play a perfect battle. I actually think I got really lucky throughout that fight. I'm just a little sad that our big fish didn't make it. I spammed Synthesis with Simone to bait moves and survive them, and swapped Grant in to fire off one last Flare Blitz. We had cleared Elite Four number 3. Guys, Gyarados was a really important part of the Chantal plan. This is not gonna go well. With no Gyarados to intimidate or dodge ground type moves, this was looking like the end for me. I had no way to counter Golurk, and when Crobat U-turned out turn 1, I was doubly cooked seeing Nidoqueen. I watched as my journey came to an end, one by one, until we had just one Mon left standing. Grant, frozen, stuck, never to see the daylight again. Thank you for everything you did, Grant. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I know this video was a different style than usual, but it was a lot of fun making it, and thanks for watching. Shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Simone, DJ, Victoria, Kiri, Tyler, Chad, and Grant. Our VIP Plus subscribers, you guys are the best. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!